2018. Talk to me about your ambitions running for chair, what that was like and why it was so important to you and how it ended up.
Sure. So, I mean, if you fast forward to today, and what's going on today, that was the goal, right? In 2018, it was Michael Heiss and myself, and that was it. We were an island. They were laughing at us. They were calling us names. They were telling us it would never work. You guys are going to fail. And it really kind of was this. It was this challenge to the stalwart gatekeepers of the Libertarian Party, right? I was a stalwart fanboy, if you can believe that, prior to 2016. And then I saw him start going after some of these really great libertarians like Dave Smith and Tom Woods and Eric July and Moshker. I mean, he was attacking these people for no reason. And so I wanted to throw out a challenge, and none of the big name libertarians that I talked to on a regular basis would challenge him. So I did it myself, and everyone told me I was crazy. I'll never be able to do anything. And ultimately, I lost. I lost the next round, but I didn't have to win that campaign to further the goal, right? So you saw me come back in 2020. I ran for chair again. I lost by about 100 votes. We moved over to the window. If you were in the room in 2020 in Orlando, we had the room. It was our room. And if we told you that was going to happen in 2018, you would have laughed at us. And they did laugh at us. And so now we're coming up on 2022, and you see that the perseverance of an idea, of a movement, how it's grown. There's now 10,000 members of the Mises Caucus. That's over half the membership of the National Libertarian Party. Okay, so that was cool.
And if I could, Josh, Star Work was all about Bishop Henchman, I think, in your second run, and he won. How'd that end up for everybody?
Well, so in fact, actually, he didn't want JBH to run. He was actually going to oppose JBH in the beginnings. But what happened was Nick had kind of took the mask off in the lead up to the 2020 convention. He took the mask off in the lead up to the 2020 convention, and people saw it slipping. And so Nick knew he was losing support. So he had to throw his weight behind somebody he thought could beat me, because he hated me. He didn't just dislike me, he hated me. In fact, he told very sharp privately that if I was to become chair of the National Party, it would be the end of the Libertarian Party, like a nuclear action. It's over. So he threw his weight behind JBH, and of course, as we know, JBH famously resigned in shame after trying to steal a state affiliate from the rightfully elected party. So,
can you run us through that New Hampshire?
Sure, yeah. So the New Hampshire thing, the Mises Caucus had started kind of focusing on certain states where they thought they could take some of these board positions, and so they started with New Hampshire. That was one of the earliest conventions this convention season. This was several months ago, and we won. We swept, but we, as an olive branch, decided to put a chair on the board that was not Mises Caucus, because we wanted to work with reasonable people. That we know there's a reasonable middle in this party. We know that they're not the enemy. We know they're our friends, and we want to work with them. But it came back to bite us in the ass in the form of the national chairman working with that chair to steal the entire state party away from these people. They ran a coup. Illegally basically moved a bunch of people, stole assets, did all these terrible things. And then the LNC had to fight about it for the next 3 months to try and fix things. So, and we know there was some emails involved. I made a motion that the chair needed to release all correspondence between himself and the chair from the national or the New Hampshire State Party. And he famously started a motion to remove Karen Ann Harlos and then resigned the next day. So.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit just about the Karen Ann Harlos situation?
Yeah, Karen Ann Harlos, great friend of mine. She's been one of my strongest allies in the LNC for 5 years. They were mad. She's the one who excluded corruption on the New Hampshire thing, and I was right there alongside of her. But they knew that I had so much support around the country that if they removed me, it was basically a death sentence for their local careers. So they went after Karen Ann Harlos, thinking it would be the easy thing, but they didn't know the vengeance of a Karen Ann Harlos score. And they did. They ended up removing her, and for no other reason than she was this hinge pin in the opening up of corruption in our own party. And so they removed her, and then they started trying to come after me. They censored me. They can't stop them. An idea this time has come. So when I started running in 2017 for national chairman, there was people in the party that didn't want to see me become national chairman. These people were gatekeepers. They wanted to fight, so they started digging into my past. They wanted to use everything they could to try and hurt me. A big part of that was going into my family law cases to try and hurt me by using my children. And so, famously, the big thing is that I didn't have full custody of my kids. They didn't live with me. But what they left out was that I was fighting for custody. I've been fighting for custody of my daughter for 10 years, working with the DHS and the state that she lived in, trying to get her out of a bad situation. So they're using my at the time 15-year-old daughter, who's already in a bad situation, to hurt me, and they were trying to pay her money to make bad remarks about me publicly. And it was really nasty, terrible political things that they were doing in my personal life. And so the cool story is that after convention last year in 2020, when that was over, I actually ended up finally getting custody of my 15-year-old daughter. If you've been following along, I also was able to get custody of her two younger siblings that are not mine biologically, but they're my ex-wives. My daughter had a daughter, so I'm a granddad now. We have 7 kids in the house, so and they're still trying to use the deadbeat dad thing against me, which is hilarious to me. I mean, you can go on my social media and see that I'm sole provider for a family of 9. We're adopting another infant. We're having another baby. The one child who doesn't live with me, you can look at my receipts. I pay $800 a month child support to make sure he's taken care of. So it's like it's just this. It's like we already use this, so we're going to keep using it as much as we can. But anybody who doesn't have their head up their ass knows that it's all bullshit. It's all lies. And they're using it still.
Let me ask you this. Are you a better person having gone through all this and them attacking you and the negativity? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? Does this toughen you up? Does this give you a better perspective on these people moving into this vice chair? Like, talk about that. Like, how are you better because of all this?
Sure, and it's funny because when I started my first chair run, I was a nobody. Nobody knew who I was, and I was just a blue-collar working class guy from the West Coast who had a little blog that was getting kind of, famous a little bit, not famous, but in the movement. And so I didn't know how to accept or take or handle or deal with criticism. And in my positions on the National Committee for a Political Party, my podcast as dad, I have to know how to take criticism, and I didn't. So in 2017, 2018, I was really bad at taking criticism. What this has done for me is that I like to say it's put the hair on my chest, right? It's given me the opportunity to learn what good criticism is and how to handle that and change what I'm doing to the good criticism and let go of the bad faith, bad actors, because I know how to separate those things and deal with them differently now. So that was like the biggest learning experience for me over the last 4 years, because I did have to. I mean, a lesser man might not still be living today.
Did you ever want to quit?
I mean,
I don't know if I could relate that.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where I wanted to quit. I mean, I wanted to give up. I mean, I had really bad thoughts, about a lot of things. And I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be like, okay, what am I going to be today? Deadbeat dad, a Nazi, drug addict. I can't keep a job. I'm couch surfing. Which one are they gonna break today? And it was, of course, none of it was true. I've been working since I was 14 and a half years old. I've been trying to be with my children since they've been born. I'm not a drug addict. I was, and that's public knowledge. I was an alcoholic. That's public knowledge. And I did have some times where I messed around. I thought I was going to be a touring musician, and I had some delusions of grandeur. But that's not who I am anymore, and it hasn't been for a long time. So big learning experience, and learning how to deal with those people and growing from it, for sure.
Thanks for talking about that. That's cool. I think that's really heartfelt stuff.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about good momentum stuff. So you're strong. You took your licks. Seems like you guys are doing very well with this Mises thing. Talk about Reno and where we're going.
So, in my opinion, Reno's going to be a bloodbath, right? And I think the precursor to that for me was the Pennsylvania State Convention.
Talk about that.
Pennsylvania, I said it was like our Alamo, and people were like, "Oh, so you guys are going to die?" It was kind of this last stand for that faction of the party that wants to keep this party small and not invite people to hold positions that they don't like. And so they kept telling us, you guys will never take Pennsylvania, you'll never take Pennsylvania. So we're going around, we've taken almost 70% of the delegations around the country. And we get to Pennsylvania, which is the 4th largest delegation in the country. And we sweep every single board's position. in every single delegate slot. In fact, Nick Sarwar couldn't get sat as a delegate there, and that's what he was there for. So I think that the momentum is there, but we've gone past they start by laughing at you, then they fight you, and then you win, right? And so we went through the laugh at you phase of 2018. We went through the fight you phase in 2020. We're past that. We're already winning. And we're gonna win. We will win. And to my advice to the people who don't want to see that, stay home. Because that's what we're bringing. There's 10,000 members of the Mises Caucus. That's over half the National Libertarian Party. We have almost 70% of the delegates around the country, and we only have a month and a half of conventions.
Do you guys think you're gonna with Ricardo on it? Are you guys just gonna walk over? Are you guys that strong?
I think it'll be a steamroll. I think it'll be an absolute steamroll. I think we take every position we want. We can do any platform stuff we want. We can do any bylaw stuff we want. And the Mises Caucus is organized. They vote as a block. They're organized. It's what a caucus does. These people are like, oh, your caucus is doing this and that, this and that. So who do you think a caucus is for? It is literally intended to bring a bunch of people together that have the same ideas and institute those ideas into an organization. And that's what the caucus has done, and they've done it well. They've done it better than any other group of people have in the Libertarian Party. And now, once we come out of Reno, we have the opportunity to focus on those visions and those goals as a bloc.
What's the end game for Mises and the individual, the American individual and the Libertarian Party? What's your vision?
So, a lot of people give the bumper sticker answer for this, the world set free in our lifetime, but we know it's probably not going to happen in our lifetime, right? But there are things we can chip away at. And I think the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus has not just, their only goal is not just to take positions of power in the Libertarian Party. Let's be honest, they mean nothing. Those positions mean nothing. But what it does give us the opportunity to do is take what we have been doing on a locality scale, where we focused on local elections, we focused on issue-based coalitions, so we worked on Decree in Denver. We get to take the party and start doing that stuff on a national level, right? And now we have a party that's less embarrassing for libertarians. We know there's a lot of libertarians in this country. We know they've been embarrassed in the Libertarian Party. We're giving them a smart, radical, professional vision for a party that they can feel at home in. And so once we take that embarrassing aspect away from the Libertarian Party, we put some serious activists in charge that are ready to, really go and fight these issues, these crises that are affecting us today. I think we start seeing a huge influx of people joining the party going, hey, finally got a home. I finally got a political home. And that's the end goal, is to give voice to the movement throughout the national political level. That's what we're bringing. That's what we're doing.
Perfect. Last question. Can you hype me up on some Dave Smith president stuff? Or are you guys keeping things tight-lipped? Does he got plans? What do you got for me?
Listen. I am just running with the fact that Dave Smith is running for president. I think it's a wonderful idea. I don't know how Dave feels about it. Maybe we've talked about it privately. Maybe we haven't. But listen, Dave Smith is one of the best articulators of our philosophy today. He's one of the best when it comes to talking about the crises that are affecting. We just watched him do it. He can talk about the crises that are affecting us better than anybody on the national level, in any party, in any media. He's better than Joe Rogan, and he has the opportunity to get himself on these shows like Tim Pool and Joe Rogan, which have, Joe Rogan gets more daily listeners than CNN. Okay, that's a huge deal. If he has Alex Jones on, that triples. Right. So Dave Smith is going to be our first presidential candidate, in my opinion, that has had the opportunity to go and do these things and get that voice out there. And that's a good thing. Now, you can have a gripe with him because you think he's not good on this one issue or this one issue, or you can have a gripe with him because he's a stand-up comedian. Listen, man, the president of Ukraine right now that is leading his troops in battle was a stand-up comedian who played the piano with his dick on the X Factor in Ukraine, okay? That's the truth of the matter. Our last president in this country was a reality television star, okay? Ronald Reagan was an actor, okay? It doesn't matter what your profession is. It matters how you are articulating our ideals and how you speak to the policies that affect Americans. And I don't think there's anybody better than that. I really don't.
Last question, take us out with something. I asked him, what do you tell these people that are just done with the duopoly of the Republicans? How do you give them hope?
Well, I think it starts, I come at this from a different vision. I'm a guy who sits on the national committee. My job is to make a successful party, right? There's other people who are like, hey, we got a message this way, we got to do this. I think we need a party that's organized, that has staff that is taken care of. No harm intended to their staff that are here, but we're not taking care of our staff. We're not taking care of our goals. We're not raising enough money. We don't have enough members. We don't have enough candidates. So we need a libertarian national committee that's, first of all, not just going to argue about shit all the time, right? And is actually going to get things done. And I've been the guy on this board. Like, you can say what you want about our actions on the LNC list, but I'm the guy who went and did ballot access petitioning in Ohio. I'm the guy that set up a ballot access fundraiser down in Alabama. I'm the guy who goes around and speaks at events and gets people to join the party. Nobody else on the LNC is doing that. Nobody. None of them. They sit around and argue about their little positions and fight, you know what I mean? So we need LNC first and foremost that is activist, work-based, and is going to go out and do the things that grow the party. And I believe, working with Angela McCarthy and the Misa slate that I've seen, these are all people that are activists and have done the work and know what they're doing, and maybe they haven't served on the LNC before. And that's a good thing, because the culture on the LNC is toxic, it's terrible, and it's worthless. They do nothing. So now we're going to have an LNC that's going to step up to the plate, they're going to go out and do the work, and they're going to grow a movement that, like I said, is unembarrassing for the libertarian movement at large. And that's how we're going to become the beacon of hope for the libertarian movement as a political party. And I think that starts today in the Minnesota convention. I think it's next week at the Texas convention. We grow this party by becoming less embarrassing and more focused on our work.